Hi, how's everybody doing? Alright, so here's part 3 of the vlog. Alright, so if America collapses, if the Democrat Socialists take power, they get massive amount of votes. They jack up the population to 400 or 500 million, which is massive immigration, massive illegal immigration. And, 90% of the states in this country are voting for Democrat Socialists. They're doing constitutional amendments. The Democrat Socialists are doing constitutional amendments to ban free speech, ban the Second Amendment, ban our rights, take away our freedoms. If that happens and our country just totally turns into Venezuela, our country turns into the Soviet Union, North Korea, Venezuela, if that's what happens, and remember, this Democrat Socialist system is backed by these mega corporations because they make the money, you know what I'm saying? When the Democrat Socialists give their voters, and other people as well, because obviously it's everybody, they give them free child care, free child daycare. What does that do? It floods women into the workforce, collapses the wages, because all these millions of women throw away their babies, throw away their toddlers in the free daycare paid for by taxpayers. That's something the Democrat Socialist Party supports. All right, as those millions of women throw away their babies, throw away their toddlers, and they join the workforce, the wages will collapse. Wages will collapse. Wages will be getting less and less and less. That benefits the CEOs. That benefits the mega corporations. Another thing the Democrat Socialist Party supports, they support free college education and just forgiving the debts. That's another thing these candidates in the Democrat Party are supporting. They're supporting free college education and debt forgiveness for people with debts from their college education. That is a disaster. That is absolute disaster, because as millions of people get free degrees, that will make the college degree like the high school diploma. It will be virtually worthless, because everybody has a college degree because it's free. You're going to have so many millions of people you're competing with. Your wage, your salary for that college degree, it will collapse. Who benefits from that? The corporations and the CEOs, they benefit. So this Democrat Socialist revolution they're doing, it's actually to benefit the CEOs and mega corporations, so they make billions of profits for the CEOs. Why you, voting for the Democrat Socialists, you just get poorer and poorer and poorer, because the free child daycare and the free college education makes your wage lower and lower and lower, all right? So what I want to talk about right now is, I want to talk about what can libertarians, conservatives, nationalists do if the country totally collapses, turns into Venezuela, and it becomes hell on earth. What can we do? The conservatives, libertarians, nationalists. And there is something we can do. We can move north to Alaska. That's right, we can move north to Alaska. Because the reality is Alaska's population is like 700,000. So if you get like 100, 200,000 nationalists, conservatives, libertarians to move north to Alaska, we can then make that state ultra-libertarian, nationalist, conservative. And I believe the liberal socialists would like that. I think they would support that. You know why? Because then the most radical opponents to their socialist revolution, they can just tell them, move north to Alaska and get out. And then we can move north to Alaska. So it's kind of like a peaceful divorce. The most conservative, most libertarian, most nationalist can just divorce the socialist. They can divorce the socialist by moving north to Alaska. All right? And the socialists will love it, because then all their biggest opponents will simply leave and go north to Alaska. And, Alaska has a lot of gold, a lot of oil, a lot of natural gas, a lot of resources, a lot of fish, seafood, a lot of resources. So, it would be a good place, to start a new conservative country, a new libertarian nationalist country. And, ideally, Alaska would say have zero immigration. So if it became an independent country, they would have zero immigration. So let's say 300,000-400,000 conservative nationalist libertarians from the lower 48 moved up north to Alaska, and they make it a conservative libertarian nationalist country. They can then eliminate immigration, so they can keep the country, the new country, Alaska, a conservative libertarian nationalist country by eliminating immigration, and keep the prosperity and keep the wealth. for the people that live in the state. And I do believe, the state could become an independent nation, because I think that the socialists in the lower 48, the socialists are going to just wreck the lower 49 states. I think the socialists will wreck it. And deep down, they kind of know that. They kind of know they'll wreck it, but they're going to get rich. They're going to get filthy rich off destroying it, destroying the lower 49 states. These socialists are going to get filthy rich off destroying the lower 49 states, off destroying the middle class, wrecking the middle class. They're going to get rich off that. But at the same time, these socialist government people, they need a lot of gasoline for their SUVs. They need a lot of gasoline for their, airplanes and for their extravagant 30,000 square foot mansions in Beverly Hills. You know what I'm saying? These liberals, they need a lot of oil and they need a lot of natural gas for their mansions and their SUVs. And because they're going to be shutting down like half the oil in America, shutting down half the natural gas pipelines in America with their socialist revolution, you know what I'm saying? They would like Alaska to be an independent country because then they can get the oil from Alaska, you know what I'm saying? They can buy the oil from Alaska to make sure they have their SUV filled to the max, to make sure they have their 30,000 square foot mansion with the heating and the air conditioning, you know what I'm saying? As America collapses, turns into Venezuela, and people in the upper Midwest, are having houses that are 35 degrees Fahrenheit because they can't afford the heat. These filthy rich liberals in places like Beverly Hills, these filthy rich liberals in places like San Francisco, Seattle, Washington, D.C., Manhattan, they're not going to suffer. No, they're not going to suffer. You know what I'm saying? They're going to make sure they got the oil, the gas, the natural gas they need. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of makes sense for them to let Alaska be independent because then they can buy the resources. So in a way, that gives us nationalist, libertarian conservatives a possibility of making Alaska a conservative, libertarian, nationalist state, independent country, because I think that people in the lower 49, the socialist government will allow that to happen. They'll like that because they can then deport people they don't like ultra hardcore conservatives. They can just deport them to Alaska if they wanted to. They like that. The hardcore libertarian nationalist conservatives will just move to Alaska because they want to, because they don't want to live in the lower 49 that turns into Venezuela, North Korea. And then the other thing is too, the socialist power elite in the lower 49, they can then buy the resources in Alaska that they need since they collapsed the lower 49. Since they collapsed the lower 49 with their Marxist agenda, they can then buy the oil, they can buy the seafood, and they can buy resources that Alaska will have. I think that's one thing libertarian nationalist conservatives we should be thinking about. That's like an exit strategy. If America does fall, turns into Venezuela, North Korea, if that happens and we realize it happens, we might want to do an exit strategy to move north to Alaska. And I personally believe the country is pretty far gone. I don't even think we get 1 million people to go north to Alaska, honestly. I mean, this country's so far gone, so far destroyed already. I think we get less than 1 million people to go to Alaska, but the thing is, because the state population is so small, you just get a few 100,000, we can make it ultra-conservative. So I think that's really the possible thing to do if the country starts to collapse into Venezuela with the Democrat Socialist Party. So I just want to say that real quick.